So, Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is it's a real powerful day in Christianity. And, you know, on Palm Sunday, we're coming into Jesus' last week on the planet. And here he's been in his ministry for about 3.5 years, and he's been walking and teaching and healing and everything. And he knows it's that part of the ministry is coming to an end. And just before Palm Sunday, where they're coming into Jerusalem to celebrate the Feast of Passover, he's done a couple last miracles, and one that he did was he raised Lazarus from the dead. And it was a demonstration that we are eternal, that we are spirit, and that as we connect with that spiritual essence I am, we can lift and free one another. A lot of time we would say people are the walking dead, and they just might need a smile or a word of encouragement or a prayer, and we can lift them and free them out of that space of darkness. And then when he's on his way, he's passes a guy, Bartimaeus, and he's a blind man. And Bartimaeus is sitting on the side of the road, and he hears that Jesus is coming by. And he starts yelling, "Jesus, Jesus!" And the people around him saying, "Shut up! Who are you? You know, you're just a poor blind man sitting on the side of the road." He's going, "Jesus, Jesus!" He wants to be healed. So finally some people say, "Yeah, go ahead. You can go to him." Jesus said, Bartimaeus jumps up. He's blind. He jumps up, tears off his cloak and robe and stuff, and runs over to Jesus. And Jesus said, "What would you want?" "I want to be healed. I want to be able to see." Jesus says, "Lift up your eyes. Lift up your eyes, and you can see." Bartimaeus lifts up his eyes and he can see. He didn't make spittle and rub it in his eyes. He didn't make him go wash his eyes out in a special river or pond or pool. He said, lift up your eyes, and you'll be able to see." And Bartimaeus lifted up his eyes. And then he goes to Bethany. Bethany's right outside of Jerusalem. And, you know, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus live there, and there's second cousins. And he spends a lot of time there because it's like a refuge of peace, haven of peace and love for him. They support him. They don't really want from him, they give to him. So it's a good place for him to be. So he goes there, and when people find out that he's there, they ask us, they go to Bethany. They want to see Jesus. They want to talk to Jesus, but they want to also talk to Lazarus. And so they stay there for a couple days. And so now we're going to get ready to go into Jerusalem. Read a thing here. And this is chapter 151 in the Aquarian Gospel. It was the day before the Sabbath day, the 8th day of the Jewish Nisan month, that Jesus came to Bethany. And on the Sabbath day, he went up to the synagogue and taught. And on the morning of the first day of the week, the Sunday of the week, he called his 12 apostles and said unto them, "This day we go to Jerusalem. Be not afraid. My time has not come." Jesus is doing all these miracles and manifestations. The priests and Pharisees aren't happy with him. They think he's a threat to them. In essence, he is a threat to that old way of thinking and living. And so they want to kill Jesus. So that's why he says, "Don't worry, my time's not come," because they know they've got people looking for him. They want to arrest him. So he says, "Don't worry, my time's not come." So he sends 2 of his disciples. He says, "Go on into Jerusalem, and you're going to find an ass and a colt tied to a tree. And I want you to get that ass for me. If anybody asks, just say the master has need of it." So they go there, they find it, tied up, get it, and this guy goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" we're taking this, the master has need of it. So they goes, okay. So you take the ass back to Jesus. And I don't know if any of you have seen the movie where Jesus rides into Jerusalem. He's on his little donkey and robes and everything. They take it back to him, they put their cloaks on it, and he rides in. And there's quite a crowd there. They came to see Jesus. They want to see him. This is a big feast and celebration. There's thousands and thousands of people there. And he rides into Jerusalem on the back of an ass. And this is demonstrating his humility. He comes into Jerusalem in all humility. He's not invited by the priests or the Pharisees. He's not recognized even as a great teacher or prophet. So he comes in uninvited on the back of this ass, and in the teachings of Rocco Errico, and he knows the culture of that time, and he says, no self-respecting man would ride into town on the back of an ass. But what he's doing is he's demonstrating his humility, and also he's demonstrating that he's going to create his kingdom. And he's demonstrating that his kingdom isn't of this earth. And as he comes in to Jerusalem in all humility, what do the crowds do but exalt him? They exalt him. They start singing songs and declaring that he's the king, Hosanna in the highest. It's powerful, 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 powerful. And he's riding in, and this official says, silence this crowd. You know, it's not right that they're singing praises to you and making all this ruckus. Once again, he's taken some of their light. And I wanted to read, this is a pretty neat part of where he talks to the Pharisee. And among the throng were Pharisees who said to Jesus as he passed, "Rebuke this noisy throng. It's a shame for them to cry thus in the street." The Lord replied, "I will tell you, men, if these should hold their peace, the very stones would cry out loud." And what's really happening, this is almost like a cosmic event where heaven and earth are coming together to support the mission of Jesus the Christ. That's how powerful this energy was. The people were beginning to get it. The people. Race consciousness was beginning to get it. And as they understood that he was creating a kingdom, and a kingdom of not of this world, that really solidified race consciousness in the movement that they were about to take. He wrote in, he didn't need approval. He didn't need approval of the priests or matter, as a matter of fact, because he wasn't creating for this world or of this world. As they came in, they called him king. All hail the king. The glory of God, the Son of David, has arrived. They thought it was the time of the Jewish people now. A lot of people understood it to be their time to rise. They thought the Messiah was going to free them from the worldly way. But it was really Jesus starting to show them a world beyond the physical. A kingdom that lies within. A God of love. The people had been ruled and imprisoned by law. The laws of men, the laws of Moses. And when Jesus came, he revealed the love of God. And the love is what really frees us all. So when they we're singing these songs and praising Jesus as he was coming into town. That is what we say is race consciousness, bowing to the Christ. Acknowledging the power of God, acknowledging the power of love, acknowledging God within, bowing to the Christ. Not having to look for approval from the outer or the old law. Raised consciousness, bowing to the Christ. A lot of times when Jesus, throughout his whole ministry, he taught and healed, and the masses and the multitudes just followed him. Or when he taught in the temples, there'd be the Pharisees and the Sadducees, but there'd be people that wanted to hear him also. So there was always this mixed consciousness of people, and it was kind of a place to be. Let's just go see this guy. But now, they're all gathered, and they're all aware something's happening. Something's happening. Jesus is creating a new space. A new space in consciousness in which race consciousness was about to enter. To move beyond the laws of man into the law of love, the law of spirit. To allow oneself, to allow all mankind the right and the ability to know God, to know self, and to live free from the law. They call him king. And all through the scripture, when they call him king, and he says, king is love, universal love. He never wanted to be called king. Christ is love. Christ reigns supreme in our hearts, if we allow it. But he let them call him king this day, because this is when he's establishing in consciousness his kingdom. A kingdom not of this earth. A kingdom within. A kingdom within. And the ruler of that kingdom is love. Each of us has that kingdom within, has the love within, and it's up to us to begin to allow that love to guide us, to rule us, to free us from the old patterns of race consciousness. It's a time when heaven and earth are coming together now to support this mission, to really recognize Jesus the Christ as Master Teacher. This very moment is powerful for our race because it allowed us to take that next step. You know, once we begin to acknowledge something, anything in our life, that opens the door to acceptance. And so the multitudes, that experience of the multitudes acknowledging Jesus the Christ as King, as Son of God, opened the door for each one of us, each one of them, to begin to accept that same truth, that same identity for ourselves. This is a very powerful moment. Very powerful moment. This is what got Jesus in trouble. Sometimes it gets us in trouble, doesn't it? If we stand up too tall, if we let our light shine out too much, if we say truth sometimes when someone might not want to hear truth. And then those old authority figures, those old laws say, who are you? Or, we're not going to recognize that. This is the way that we've always done it. But that's when we have to stand forth and allow that Christ to get radiant and stand in the truth and knowing, and stand in our identity, the identity I am. He's setting the stage for this new consciousness that's about to unfold. And then through the acts that he goes through, the death, resurrection, and ascension, sets it in form. Allowing that Christ light to be sown throughout the universe, to be quickened within each heart, connecting us back with the Father, connecting us back with the Father, moving beyond the physical. We're a metaphysical Christian church. Meta, the other half. And like we say, you're physical and spiritual. To begin to acknowledge that we're spirit. If we can begin to acknowledge that we're spirit, pretty soon we're going to begin to accept it. And then once we begin to accept that we're spirit, we'll begin to act like we're spirit, spiritual beings.